Hello and welcome to another video from Scotland Surveyor. This content video we're going to cover goalkeepers, opportunities for managers basically to buy and sell goalkeepers, hopefully maybe for some profit, but also the opportunity for managers to maybe have a run of playing something maybe rather than a common goalkeeper if you don't have the luxury of having some rare goalkeepers. So it's all around the MLS and the international fixtures. And we're going to cover basically looking at who's away on international duty and who is going to be at home and available, which hopefully should help your gaming weeks. Since our last video, we're very proud and very thankful to be awarded the official affiliate partner of Surveyor, which gives us access to marketing materials and some content, etc., which we'll be sharing with you. So we're very happy with that. Over on Twitter, we're still sharing some tips, sharing some players, some transfers, etc., general content, and a little bit of banter here and there. And on our Instagram is the journey exclusively, my entire journey on Surveyor. And that basically goes from a £225 initial investment that was turned into £2,500. And then with the confidence in the platform, my journey then basically was accelerated when I deposited a further £2,000, which gave a total of £2,250, which is my all-time investment, and having the portfolio up around the £10,000 to £15,000 in value. So that's a little bit about the social media platforms that we're running, but however, let's move on to the goalkeepers in question. So almost definitely on international duty, and some of these players have already been selected. So first and foremost, the USA have a friendly against Switzerland coming up, and then they've got the Nations League game against the Honduras coming up. So the squads have been selected for that, and David Ochoa has been selected for that match, along with the European-based goalkeepers that have been in the USA squad. However, there's also the Gold Cup and a further friendly against Costa Rica coming up, and the squads haven't been selected for that. So that will also present opportunities, which I think is a three-way battle, and going by my own research, I believe Matt Turner might just have the edge over the other keepers, which we'll mention on the next slide. You've got some other keepers there, so the Canadian duo of Maxime Crepeau and Dane St Clair. They're, pretty much guaranteed to be in contention for selection there. And then you've got a few of the other main keepers that are all, they're all star players in the MLS. Andre Blake, Pedro Galisi, Eloy Room, etc. So these are the players that I would say will definitely be away, which therefore presents opportunities for their backups and the squad goalkeepers. Possible call-ups. The USA goalkeeping jersey has been quite interesting, and you'll see a little bit more around that just on the following slide, where I look at the squad selections, etc. Bill Hamid, certainly, he's almost got 10 caps, but he's been out with two injuries for quite some time, including the injury which is based around sort of the groin and the hernia, and obviously has a massive effect on your kicking ability in the game. So Bill hasn't returned to DC at the moment. It's been Chris Seitz and John Kempin that have been in the goal. So we'll see if Bill returns in time for certainly the latter part and possibly the Gold Cup. That's still, you'll have to play some club football, I would think, before he's in contention for the international team. Sean Johnson, I think, is really in a battle there with Matt Turner to accompany both David and he'll possibly accompany Zach Steffen from Manchester City as well, who pretty much has the majority of the caps in the recent times. Matt Freese he's had a little bit of involvement, and obviously he was a 23 keeper alongside David Ochoa. So he's still an outside bet, and one to possibly just keep an eye on as being considered for call up. He's currently the Philadelphia number 2 though, so that shouldn't have too much of an effect, for them as a team as such. The unlikely call-ups for international duty. So these are, they are internationals, but the Croatia team's been selected. Marko Maric at Houston Dynamo is not in it. James or JT Markinkowski, it's pretty unlikely. He's had a little taste of international action at the start of the year. However, I don't think he's going to make the squad. And Clement Diop at Senegal. He's very unlikely. Senegal have two keepers definitely ahead of him in Edouard Mendy, that's at Chelsea, and they've also got Alfred Gomez as well. So it's very unlikely that Clement Diop will even possibly make the squad there. So just looking at the USA in particular here, this is the last 10 games. Now, the start of these games were at a period basically just prior to the COVID outbreak, and there's been some friendlies that have been played throughout the period of COVID, etc. That's, games without the fans, etc., where they still wanted to try and keep things competitive, and we're keeping competitive sport on our television screens. And you can see that there's a bit of a pattern. The games that have been highlighted in red, these were all played in Europe, as opposed to, home or away. So those games have all been played on a European base, which basically meant that the keepers, Ethan Horvath and Shituru Adunze were selected. They're not first team keepers with their own clubs. And Zach Steffen, he's one of the backups at Manchester City. So you can see there. The caps, Sean Johnson, he has, he's 9 caps. Matt Turner has 1. Bill Hammond has 8. Zach Steffen's got 21 and seems to be in possession of the number one jersey. But the game against Switzerland that's just upcoming in the next couple of days, the squad doesn't include Zach Steffen on this occasion, and you can see that there's a slightly different selection there, which offers just an opportunity, perhaps maybe for the number one jersey to change hands again. So, keepers available for the MLS games. These are goalkeepers that aren't going to be called up. You've got Joe Willis at Nashville and Brad Stuver at Austin, who are pretty safe bets if you already have them in your team. None of these keepers are particularly cheap. They're all starting number ones as it is. Steffen Frei is injured at the moment. He did represent Switzerland at youth level many years ago. However, he's not going to be probably in contention for a little while yet, and Stephen Cleveland currently has the number 1 jersey. He would be the number 2 normally. However, he does have the jersey at the moment in Frei's injured absence. You've also got the Portland goalkeeping situation, which has been quite unusual. They've used all 4 of their keepers already this season, 7 games in. Steve Clark was, pretty much recognised as the number 1, and he has played 1 game this season now, following injury. I would expect that he retains the jersey. But that's certainly one to watch. What I've come to discover is that nothing's a certainty. You've got Tyler Miller in Minnesota, Brad Guzin, William Yarborough, Jimmy Maurer, etc. You can see all the keepers that are there. Jonathan Bond will not be called up for England for the Euros, and Kenneth Vermeer retired from Netherlands duty many years ago as well. The other keepers, Carlos Cornell at the Red Bulls. He is Brazilian. He has no chance of unseating Ederson or Alisson. And Pablo Cisneiga, more than likely, I can't see how he would be selected for Mexico, having no previous involvement, etc. as well. I've asterisks John Kemp in there at the moment due to Bill Hammond's injury. John Kempin's the current number 1, and again, he will not be in contention for international duty. So those are all number 1s, and they're already all on the market, and they aren't particularly cheap. So what I wanted to do was bring to your attention the number 2s, who might get a run of MLS games. So you've got Brandon Austin, who's just been introduced as one of the new cards in the latest MLS batch, So he's at Orlando City, and there's a very good chance, if I've highlighted them in green, it means there's a very good chance they're going to get a run, possibly of maybe three, four games, whilst the other keepers are on international duty. Greg Ranjit Singh at Philadelphia. Now, he was mentioned in a pre-match interview probably about 7-8 weeks ago, where the coach mentioned that they'd signed Greg based on the fact that they knew they had a busy international window and that he would probably get some game time. I suppose it will depend on Matt Freese situation as well, depending on what happens with him over the summer. However, there is an outside bet or chance that Greg might get some action. I've asked any of the Portland goalkeepers. It really just has been, so unpredictable there that you could buy any of them maybe, and you may end up lucky with the fact that they might get some game time. However, a couple of other ones there that I think are really nailed on to get some games finally this season. Zach Mcmath. Well, that's almost a certainty given David Ochoa, situation. You've got Przemysław Titan, who has lost the shirt again. However, he might come back into contention, and I would fully expect him to do so. I guess it'll just depend on the performance of the keepers in the jerseys at the moment and how they play over the next few games. But we've got a couple of really good ones here in Louis Barraza at New York City and Evan Bush at Columbus Crew, where I would expect that, based on the call-ups, that they should hopefully see some match time, which would be nice. And the other one that I think is probably worth keeping an eye on would be Daniel Vega. Earthquakes have been conceding quite a few goals recently. So I think he's worth keeping an eye on. I think he might get one last run. Probably quite predictably, I was holding two of them, and I sold them both out of frustration that I'm never getting any game time, and wait and see. He'll probably go and get the jumper now, and keep it for the rest of the season. Brad Knighton at New England is another one that was highlighted to me. So the basis on why I did this research, I've got a friend, Martin, who plays the game, and he's based over in America, and he was helping just a small group of us just in relation to keepers, and just gave me a starting point really, just to further go and research it all, etc., and make sure that, fingers crossed, there was some pretty decent information to help all the managers that are out there. So these are some number twos that I think are well worth trying to pick up if you can get them cheap enough. If it's to flip them and to make some profit so that you can strengthen other areas of your squad, fantastic. If it's to actually play them and try and contest the prizes and global, etc., then fantastic as well. Obviously, with the new reward structure as well, there's going to be changes to that. It was announced today in everybody's inbox, etc., just a little bit more information about the prizes, and the heavy game weeks being more prizes. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting, and there's going to be lots of opportunities for managers. So that was just a quick overview. This is the type of video that we like to make. If you like what you've seen, subscribe to the channel, give us a little bit of support. It would all be very much appreciated. If you're not already playing the game, then get in touch and we'll help you get set up, etc. No problem around that. You do get a free rare card after you've signed 5 players from the auction house. And if you feel free to follow any of our content on any of the social media channels. And thank you once again for listening.